Hi.
Showtime, as Henry says.
Hi. Hi, Henry. Hey, Lauren.
Oh, Lauren's here too. Cool. What's up? It's Prof and Karen.
And it's Friday.
Friday, Freaky Friday. Wasn't the name of the movie?
Yeah.
Why did I get that look? Anyway.
Was that the one with Jamie Lee Curtis where they switched places?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis and that, what's her name? I can't remember her name. The younger actor.
It was the one that has all the problems. Just played Liz Taylor in a movie, right?
Yeah. They switched places. Freaky Friday. Anyway.
Now that we've gotten that straightened out.
Now that we're totally off track and it's already, 30 seconds into the show. So let us know, guys, if you can hear us okay. We'll do a sound check. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hey. 1, 2. That's not a sound check. That's warming up your vocals.
Tomato.
Whatever.
You check your sound your
Lindsay
way.
Lohan. There we go.
I'll check my sound my way.
So welcome, guys, to our Friday recap show. We've got a topic. We've got a couple other topics we're going to talk about. A couple other things that are going on. And, of course, take any questions and so on. If you have questions, just type the word question or 3 or 4 question marks in front of it so that we can identify it as a question.
And at the time this video is being recorded, it's live. So we're going to talk to people in the chat, and we might take a minute or two to get to the topic. So
yeah, if you don't like that part, then you don't need to watch these shows.
Go watch cat videos. Not that there's anything wrong with cat videos, but
they're pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Cats and cucumber videos especially.
No,
really funny.
Like together.
Cat and cucumbers. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Apparently cats don't like cucumbers.
They don't, and they freak out when they see them. It's very funny. All right, so let's talk about some topics. And this topic came up yesterday with somebody, or maybe it's 2 days ago. This topic about walking by money.
It's all running together.
Yeah, so this idea that you should never walk by money while you're thrifting, picking, yard sailing, garage sailing, estate sailing, whatever you're doing. I'm just going to say this to you. In a hypothetical sense, yeah, you should never walk by money, but it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, and we talked yesterday because as we go into the topic, what actually brought it up, but or was it Wednesday? Again, it's all running together, but you can't grab all of the thingies all of the time. It's just not possible. So take that off your list. Stop making yourself crazy about it.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Yeah. I mean, there was a story that came out probably a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago on ESPN, and it talked about that goofy Nintendo game like Stadium Sports that can go for like $20,000, $30,000 on eBay, the old original Nintendo game. That game, like one of the versions of that game, one of the cartridges was found in a Goodwill about 15 minutes from here. And I'm pretty sure I was shopping that Goodwill at that time, and I may have walked right by it.
Shame on you. I
probably walked by a $25,000 video game sitting in their love case, which I think they sold for about $15 or something like that. But, and the person found it right there. So I walked by it probably a few times and never saw it, potentially. I mean, what am I going to do? Just beat myself up about that? You're going to walk by stuff that would make you money, and there's just no way around it. You can't look up everything. You can't be an expert on everything. That's why I say I think the better approach is to learn some niches and then develop an eye that can help you identify potential other items that you've never really encountered before, and maybe then you can look those up.
Yep.
So stadium events. Yeah, the funny thing, it's a bad game. And yes, the seller updates do apply to all sellers, but optional parts, as someone just said, that's true. Yeah, stadium events. Sorry, what did I call it? I don't remember what I call it. Maybe I called it track events or something. I don't know. All right, so we'll get into our topic here in just a second, because this next little bullet point kind of touches on that, right? What did you mean by this when you sent this to me?
Which one? The second one? The wake up early?
Yeah.
Oh, so you mean with regard to YouTube people, right?
Yeah.
So you can only watch so many. Let's go backwards. There's only so much time in the day, and you can only watch and retain so much information from YouTube videos, right?
Right.
And our conversation was actually a lot of folks present company excluded in our immediate chat here, will get on and watch YouTube videos, haul videos in particular, and people, I have this theory that it's like a voyeuristic thing. Like people like to see, like, you know, Big Brother, reality TV. They're kind of nosy about how other people are doing it. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, you know, our nature as human beings. And people don't always want to learn something new. We were talking about how people that learn in certain ways just really want to know how other people did it, not necessarily how they can do it or how they can apply it to themselves.
Right.
And I think if you're watching this video to glean something new, to learn how to do your business or your reselling business better, it's not enough just to watch how other people do it, or watch what we buy or she buys or they buy, or what shoe rack we bought yesterday or whatever. This next thing, I told you, you have to wake up early, you have to work hard, and you have to research hard. You have to put in the time and effort if you're ever going to get any better about it. So that just sort of evolved from that. I mean, it's never one little thing. But
it's like the secret is there is no secret. And it's such a cliche, but it really is, you know. I mean, I can't tell you how many countless hours I put into studying denim brands, to researching what sold and what didn't sell, to looking at forums, to looking at photos, to looking at threads, to, of course, actually going through denim and looking at it and quality controlling it, inspecting it, you know, trying to be able to spot denim just by the back pocket design. And I still walk into every single store and find a new brand almost every time we source denim. Almost every time. It is crazy. There's just so much to know, you know.
I don't know what that means.
I don't think it was really a question. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment, I think. So that kind of ties in with the show, you know, with the show's topic, guys, about this idea about too much competition. All right, so Cara and I were talking about this a lot in the last 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, all week, because we've been dealing with a lot of input, unsolicited or solicited, depends on how you look at it, about how people do things and the pie and how big it is and all that. And I'll start us off on our topic with this, as far as too much competition online. And I think we've talked about this once before, but when you first started making videos, I thought it was the worst idea ever.
She did.
I'm thinking to myself, why on earth are you going to put out into the universe that you're going to our local Goodwills and telling people where we live, and this is what you're finding, and this is how much money you're making, and this is how you're doing it? I think that's just crazy. How are you ever going to make money? How are you going to make a business out of this? And I was dead set against it.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably used some more colorful words at the time. But that being said, I will tell you, I no longer feel that way. I am 180 degrees different. And even this one little thing, if I had still felt that way, we never would have met Luke at the Goodwill that's less than a mile from our street. We never would have had the joy of his friendship and collaboration. We wouldn't have sat there in that IHOP that night and decided that it was such a good thing that you guys came together and that we have built this friendship.
Right.
So that all by itself, like, I've grown up. I've come so far.
Yeah. And, you know, tying in with that, guys, here's the thing. This is what we seem to forget. There's a pie of e-commerce out there, whether it's on eBay or Amazon or whatever, and it's a reselling pie. It's, you know, it's so much money that can be made, and we never know exactly how much it is, but we can look at it we can look at it in reverse in the past and say, all right, e-commerce sales did this many hundreds of millions of dollars, or this many billions, or whatever the number is, doesn't matter. But the pie is always changing, and it shrinks in one area and grows in another sometimes. And sometimes it seemingly grows in every area at once. And we seem to forget that it can grow for buyers as well. Like, I don't know why I don't know where we've gotten this idea as resellers in the community, and some, that the number of buyers out there is capped. Like there will never be any more new buyers, and we can only keep what we have or lose buyers. The amount of people buying online, guys, is not at the peak. On brick and mortar sales still outsell online sales by a pretty big margin. Now there's a transition there. Like there's more and more people every year that are buying online, which is good for us as resellers. That means that part, the buying part of the pie, is expanding. And that means that the market can take more products and even more sellers selling more products. And I don't know why we forget that part, but I'm just going to say this, guys. We exist because there's a lot of buyers. Let me back up. As resellers, we exist because there's a lot of buyers, not because there's a shortage of sellers. That's it. Because we don't have a monopoly on this. And you were talking about this, like you're touching on this. When new technologies come along, when a new era comes in, at first nobody's involved in it because it's new and nobody knows anything. And then word gets out, whether it's through the internet today and social media or email or YouTube or whatever, or in the past it was word of mouth, it was newspapers, it was the telegraph, it was the telephone. I mean, information gets spread. And what we find is that as this new industry grows, people flock to it to be part of it and be involved in it, and they want to do it. They want to sell in it. They want to be a business person. And the number of people coming into it grows for a while, and that causes some distortion in the market. And what happens is that the really good sellers, the people who are adaptable, can figure out efficient ways to do things, can change, evolve, they win. They win. And then what happens is all those people who are not adaptable and not efficient, they drop out. They wither away because they weren't able to keep up with that market. And thus it begins again. And this cycle, guys, it just goes on and on in any kind of capitalistic society like we live in today. I mean, that's a constant process. You can't be afraid of that and be a reseller. Oh no, here come the other resellers. I don't want to tell my neighbor what I'm doing because then they'll become a reseller and there'll be competition. They might, but so what? That's just part of it. Like that's part of what you've got to evolve with, you know, if you want to be successful. And I don't think you should be afraid of it. I think you have to embrace that.
Mike Raleigh mentioned that he thinks that 75% of people lose interest. Oh, sure. Because, you know, you see people on YouTube telling you what they're doing, how they're doing, how much money they're making. And it's really easy to say, oh yeah, I can do that. In theory, yeah. But when people realize that it's a grind, it's a lot of work, it's being self-employed, period, is a lot more work, I think, than people ever imagine or give self-employed people credit for. But we started thinking about talking about this again. And I started our conversation today with, you know, I feel you. I am right there, or I was right there with the conspiracy theorists in the community that think that we're doing a disservice. And I think whenever you're helping someone better their own business, you're supporting. I mean, how would you not help somebody do better? And and we're not. It's no guarantee that because we're helping people, they're going to do better. But putting the information out there is not a. That's not a bad thing. And
here's the thing, guys. Like if I did not, like let's take Luke. Luke lives pretty close to us, endless entrepreneurs. If I never engaged with Luke and I never talked to him, he could go sell what he sells. I could sell what I sell. And we actually cross paths quite a bit because we're sourcing a lot of the same sources. We didn't know that until we met each other. But here's the thing. I've learned things from Luke. I've learned things. He's learned things from me. And so I'm able to take that and apply it to my business. I'm able to take his brand knowledge, his business model knowledge. He's able to do the same with me and apply it. So it wasn't like I told him what I'm doing and I lost, and he told me what he's doing, he lost. We gained something from it. And that's the way knowledge works. I mean, you can't really just keep everything in. You know, if you never give anything, you'll never receive anything. You never give anything away. And it's not that we're giving away the secrets. There's no real secret here. Like, I don't get that. You know, like I'm going to come on YouTube and Prof Sales or Raiken Profit or Casey or Nicole State or whoever, between us all, we're suddenly going to ruin eBay for everyone or ruin Amazon or whatever the market is.
I knew that about you.
I think that's a pretty, I think we would have a pretty self-inflated sense of ourselves if we really believe that. And I don't really think the people putting content on YouTube really believe that, or in Facebook forums or what have you. And it's funny to me that a lot of people that make that charge are the very people watching. They're watching to get that info. And I'm like, that seems a little hypocritical to be, you know, to come on to a YouTube channel or a Facebook group and complain about people giving out knowledge while you're there getting knowledge.
Sorry, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, that just, I don't even understand that logic or that illogic, but
it happens.
It happens all the time.
So here's a real life example of how we just will prove to you that it's just silly to think that either I'm not going to do it because there's other people shopping for the same thing I am, or, you know, where there's too many resellers out there, right? So we went to shoe day at one of our, by accident apparently, on Wednesday, and we probably saw more than normal. We haven't been to this particular Goodwill at this time of day on a Wednesday before, but obviously it's shoe day. And at a certain time, they clear the shelves, put out new, whatever. And there were at least 5 other resellers.
Yeah, there's several.
And, you know, I'm scrappy. I get in the middle of it all the time. And this particular day, I was feeling a little, I don't know. It was just a bit much for me because it was a lot of people going for the same things. And she puts out the shoes, you know, it's very formal. Okay, now you can dig in, and everybody rushes. And there happened to be this Allegria, these shoes right in front of me. So I pick them up, and another woman was going for them. And so everybody grabs their shoes and they grab all the thingies, they put them in their cart, they go back, and then I'm going to look them up or do whatever it is I do. And then you walk back through, and he picks up, you know, 2 pair of really good shoes that we have bought before and actually sold. And so it doesn't matter that there's 5 other people. You're not all necessarily looking for the same thing, nor is your knowledge base the same. I think there are a lot of newbie wannabes necessarily. I don't mean it that in a not nice way, but there's a lot of people on different positions in their along their journey, right? So don't let it get you down because you find that you're in a small bowl with a couple more goldfish than you're used to. I no longer buy into it. I just don't. And I'm trying to keep up with some of the stuff in the chat, but
didn't the guy bring you some shoes too?
Yeah. Yeah. Guys just bring me stuff. But yeah, the fella he was more a work boot kind of guy, and he was a reseller. He goes to the flea market and he's buying for a specific group of people. But yeah, he gave me a pair of Under Armour sneaks, and
we didn't end up getting them, but
no.
He was like, "Hey, if you want to sell these," and I was like,
"Yeah."
You know, we checked them out, and they really didn't quite meet our standards. But I mean, there's not as many secrets as you think, guys. That's the other thing too. It's kind of like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's not as if the knowledge that people have on YouTube or Facebook groups or so on cannot be learned or figured out on your own. And by us sharing it, whatever knowledge we have, I learn 10 times more by what people give me back. So if I never shared it, I would never receive that. So I would actually lose out in the long run. So I fundamentally disagree that I'm giving away any secrets here that are devastating. What secret am I giving away? Like, be organized in your business. You know, make sure you're selling profitable items that meet with your profit goals for the amount of time and energy put into them. That's not really a secret. Even if I tell you the brands of jeans to go buy, you're still not going to be that successful at it. There's more to it than that.
Well, and we're asked a lot about what our top 10 brands are. And even I know, and some of you guys may know, we do this thing 10 at 10 where you do your prof math and prof level stuff. And I am very beginning level, kind of approach to how to list, right?
Right.
And I have no idea where I was going with that. So,
well, Karen, bless her heart.
I had a point. It was a really good one.
Yeah.
But now I
well,
just
well, maybe I'll take it up for a second. Maybe you can figure out where you're going with it. But Karen will sometimes bring something to me and she'll say, hey, look, these are really cool. We should get these. And what do I always say when you do that? Every time.
Look it up.
Look it up. What does it sell for? And she's like, well, I don't, sometimes she'll, and sometimes she'll have already looked it up. A lot of times she'll look it, but sometimes she'll go, I don't know. And I went, look it up.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
Because you don't know.
So, anybody can do that. Anybody can look it up, right?
Sure.
If you can go onto eBay right now and do a search and figure out all by yourself what the top 10 jean brands are.
Quit giving away secrets.
Oh, sorry. But you can figure out what the top things that are selling are. I mean,
Right.
You just do a simple search and and you're there and you have the information that you need.
Yeah, and that's not telling you anything that we already know, or or anything that's not like a secret. I mean, I guess what I don't get here is that people literally think that some resellers who are putting out content or have Facebook groups, whatever, we're giving out secrets. There really aren't any secrets. I mean, there just aren't. I mean,
the secret is there is no secret.
Yeah, I mean, what secret are you giving away that if you research things and see what they sold for, you can get an idea of what you might be able to sell them for? Is that really a secret? Like that's been out since the beginning of eBay. I mean, you could have gone on and did that, and people have been trying to do that. I read a case the other day from like 2001 where someone wrote a bot to screen scrape eBay listings and pull off all the info so they could figure out how much things sold for. Now, eBay doesn't allow you to do that. It's actually against the law. But it happened like 15 years ago. It's not like it happened yesterday, and I'm sure people have done it since then. So even way back then, people were doing that. Amazon, there's multiple tools that allow you to pull up what things have sold for on Amazon and their rank and how likely they're to sell in the next 30 days, 60 days. This is not some big secret sauce here we're giving you that we're going to ruin our restaurant if we tell you. It's not like we're giving you the recipe to KFC's chicken. That is a trade secret they're not going to give you, or the formula for Coca-Cola. That's different. But BHFO, for instance, which is one of the biggest sellers on eBay, $40 million a year, a clothing seller, they give away tons of information about how they run their business. They do videos on it. Why aren't they scared of it? They have a tremendous amount to lose. They have 150 employees. I just don't buy it, guys. Like, it's just there's not all these secrets really out there. There's tips, there's things that you can learn. There's, little tweaks here and there, but it really comes down to research, buy, sell, rinse and repeat. I don't know that it's any more complicated than that. All the rest of the stuff is just details that you can figure out on your own.
Well, and know this, and we want to motivate instead of discourage folks. Whenever we put out a top, like what we consider to be a top brand list, or when you see other people buying this brand or that brand, you're not going to be able to replicate it exactly necessarily where you are. So just because, and I found my first pair of Coach women's shoes. Actually, it was my first pair ever of Coach anything, for that matter, that was not in a love case somewhere.
Right.
Just because the brands are out there doesn't, and don't let that get you down, but it's supply. It's what you have access to. And just because, we found, what was that brand of jeans that we found at the thrift store up the road there? The Jap rag,
yeah.
Right? We've only ever found one, Jap rag. You guys know this brand? We didn't until we found it.
Of course not.
Wicked cool pair of pants, but
I think I found that one, didn't I?
You did.
She gives me credit for one I found.
He never gets credit for the cool stuff.
I know. I really don't. But yeah, I was trying to read through some of the comments too. Somebody asked, what's a secret store I won't tell you about?
It's a secret.
It's not really a secret. If you searched Goodwills in North Carolina, you'd find it. So,
and somebody said something about our the outlet that we go to here in Charlotte is yeah, there's actually a couple of I call them the outlet pimps. There's two groups of groups. that come. And one in particular was mentioned in the chat. They're shopping specifically for the flea markets here.
Yeah.
And if we go at a certain time of day or whatever, you'll see, and it's this fella, and he has what, 10, 15 women just wah, wah, wah. Talk about grabbing all the thingies.
Yeah.
Oy.
I don't know if they're a family or what, but
yeah.
Yeah. So guys, you know, when people say, is there too much competition on eBay? What they're really saying, or if they say there is too much, what they're really saying is, hey, what I used to do doesn't work or doesn't work as well for me now. And it's because there's more competition. And you know what? There may be more competition. And I'm just going to say to you, adapt or die. It's really that simple. You have to. It's going to change. The market's going to change. You think everybody's going to suddenly go? I mean, guys, eBay and Amazon, this whole online market, we just said 15 minutes ago, people are transitioning to more and more becoming used to buying their items online. It's going to grow. And as the number of buyers grow and the amount of demand grows, guess what? The number of sellers are going to go right along with it. There's not going to be less competition in the future. There's going to be more. So you got to figure out ways to differentiate yourself, find new products, new avenues, new niches. Give yourself every competitive advantage you can within your business model. And guess what? That's the way it's always been in every industry of business since the beginning of time. Innovation comes along and changes everything. And some people win and some people lose. You got to adapt to it. And if you can't, that's fine. Find something different to do. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person or anything like that. And there might come a day when I don't adapt to it too well and I have to go do something totally different. That's fine. I will do that. But I'm not going to sit around and bemoan too much competition on eBay. But when reality is, that's just me making an excuse for why I'm not as successful as I want to be. Sorry if that comes across harsh, but
put that
I
in
believe
your
it.
pipe and smoke it.
I believe it. I was trying to read some of the questions here.
They're talking about trucks.
Oh, nice.
And Hank can tell you about engines and power and all that stuff. So
yeah, we got we're going to talk about our shoe racks too. We built. I'm going to show the shoe rack. You want to talk
seriously?
About it? Why not?
Oh, there's one right here. That's right.
We're going to our last.
So
topic.
we're officially out of room for certain things.
We really are.
The bedroom furniture has officially got to go. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're going to rearrange the garage and do some things differently. But we have transitioned to this lovely 10-tiered rack of shoe goodness. Yeah, because the way we were doing it.
This could be like a video effect with me in between. That's kind of, anyway. All right, so. Moving
on. So, and we've talked about it. We get that how we were doing it isn't going to work for our goal of 1 million shoes. No,
yeah.
So we're, you know, as we always are, we make mistakes, so you don't have to. But we're transitioning to these, and we're thinking we're going to either put them in the garage, or it's less work to rearrange the garage for 500 shoes than it is to put the shoes, swap the shoes with the, you know, couple thousand pair of jeans that'll be upstairs, right?
Yes, and if you want that shelf, shameless capitalist plug coming, you can look in the description of this video and see the Amazon associate link to it. I think it was $34.
Yeah, it was the best deal.
Not bad.
And we're shoppers.
It's pretty sturdy. I actually got 2 of them, but I'm going to need to get 2 more.
Like 10 more we're going to need. But we had a smaller version, a 5-shelfer, and it's really simple, but tension keeps it sturdy.
No tools needed, although if you have like a rubber hammer or something, it's kind of nice to hammer in the joints a little bit.
Yeah, no, don't use a hammer.
But be very careful.
What happens if you use a hammer? I
couldn't find a rubber mallet, so I used a 3-pound sledge, and one of them broke. So whatever.
They send you 1 extra though with this particular.
That was the Prof.
The Prof bracket. Is that a thing? I don't know.
I know, right? But yeah, they're a good little shelf. And the cool thing is, did you mention you can take out the fabric?
I did not.
Yes. So you can take out the fabric between the shelves. So if you had taller items like boots, you could make one shelf, you know, twice as high if you wanted to. So that way you'd be able to store boots as well.
No wheels, Michelle. I really dig racks with wheels, but they cost more, a lot more, and they weigh more.
Right.
And for the space that we have and the money we want to spend, we want to keep it pretty lean for our shelving. So
if you had a like a hard floor, like concrete or something like that, and you wanted to push them all together to save space, that would actually be a good idea with wheels. I hadn't thought about that till just now. But we weren't sure we were going to go that route.
Well, and you have to get the metal, honestly.
It's not a horrible idea.
Racks with wheels, I'm a proponent of the metal casters.
Yeah.
Because they make these little units with the plastic wheels, and they're not gonna hold the weight.
And you're gonna have a lot of weight on them, guys. When you got 40 pair of shoes on there, that could be pushing 100 pounds, every bit of it.
Yeah.
So you got quite a bit of weight on there. Because shoes are a good 2 pounds. Some of them are over 3 pounds. Probably averages maybe 2.5 pounds. So that's right at 100 pounds of weight. And those little plastic wheels, they're not going to stand up. So get the metal ones if you can.
And this particular shoe rack will hold, just to give you some perspective, it'll hold 10 shelves will hold 50 pair of just straight smaller women's shoes.
Right. And 40, maybe a little larger.
But we are going to err on the more conservative side and count each unit will hold 40. And we're no longer going to put them in the Priority Mail shoe boxes.
Yep.
Because we want them to be able to breathe, because we're trying to avoid, moisture can
well, a lot of the shoes we have are leather, and leather can grow mold. True story. And I didn't really think about that until we really started this shoe journey. Like, oh. Yeah.
And Mike just said those, is that same Mike? Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. But sliders. The casters, those furniture mover.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Sliders. Put sliders under the thingy.
Especially if you're on carpet, because I find that especially those plastic wheels on carpet don't necessarily always roll the best, depending on how cheap they are.
But these sliders, I think he's talking about that they're like these disc thingies that you put
I know he's talking about. Those would be better. And Ronnie said in his warehouse the wheels broke. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you can, don't move them. I just think anytime you start moving them, it has to be a lot sturdier, and you're going to run into more issues with it. And plus, guys, that's a pretty tall shelf. You can still see it over my head. It's probably about 6 feet high. It could topple over. It's not impossible to think it could fall over. So I was thinking about today. It's like, I'm going to start loading this from the bottom. Well, and just
in the spirit of full disclosure, we don't know yet what's going to happen when we fill that baby up. So they're nice shelf. They're pretty sturdy. I was surprised, and all the reviews on them are really good. Yeah, there's that. Read reviews.
I was surprised because usually when you got things like shelves and storage, you always get a bunch of negative reviews where people are like, this broke or didn't work. And a lot of the reviews start out, hey, I thought this was going to be crappy, but it actually turned out pretty good. The only thing I would recommend is don't hammer in the joints.
I'll come.
Like I did.
I'll come build it for you. I have patience.
I had patience too. I just wanted to be in there. So anyway, any other questions here? Is there a cure or prevention for mold growing on leather? Ooh, I don't think so.
Only be proactive about it.
You can wrap them, Sultan, in they make a shoe bag it's made of a certain type of material. I'm not super familiar with it, but I know it exists. But you're going to add some expense doing that, especially if you get up to a good number of shoes. Like when you start getting up to 2 or 3 or 4 or 500, that's going to be a little expensive. But you can do that to help prevent mold. But you've got to have airflow around the shoe. That's critical. So make sure you do that. I'll wait until y'all shelves hold up or fall apart. I don't think they're going to fall apart though. I mean, it's not that much weight on any one shelf.
No, and we've been using, Hank, a shorter version of that personally, and then I actually took it for my own inventory of shoes, and it's held up just fine. So I think this one will be all right.
Yeah, we were actually thinking about, the cool thing about this shelf, guys, is it's about this wide. So depending on your room, you could set these shelving units back to back, and put them sort of perpendicular to the wall and put them back to back. You have to leave a walkway in between, but you might be able to get more in a room than just putting them sideways around the wall. The downside to that is, when you've got them coming out from the wall like that, if you bump into them, they could fall over. I mean, it's not impossible.
There'll be no bumping.
But as Ronnie said, and he had a good point there, you could just strap it to the wall. You can go buy a little simple bracket that would just go right around the supports and just screw it into the wall, and it should be fine. It's not going to fall over.
Well, and we've kind of put ourselves in a position. It's kind of funny. I don't know what we were really thinking. I mean, we filled up that shoe area like in no time.
Yeah.
And so we're going to spend we're going to list when we stop this video. We've got some listing that we have to get done.
And the AC man's coming. Yes.
Yeah, this is what, day 3 of
night 3 of no air conditioning.
AC Mageddon around here.
How hot was it in the bedroom? It was like
85 degrees.
It was 85 degrees in there when we went up there, and I'm
and
like,
the humidity was like 50%.
50%. Yeah, it was not good. We went and bought this huge fan and set it right at the foot of the bed, just on all night. What are the brand or names of the shelves? Sorry if I missed it. Janetta, look in the description. They're actually called
starts with an S.
Hang on, I'll tell you. The description, there's they're called, where the heck are they? Song Mimics, MIMCS, but there's a link to them. The shoe rack.
And they make different ones too, if that one's too big.
Right.
They make different colors. They make one that has a
flap,
a zipper thing that encompasses the whole, it closes it up.
Yeah.
But so after we, AC Hero guy comes, and after we list, we're going to spend the rest of the afternoon relabeling the shoes, right?
Yeah. So we'll have those in order, and we'll try to shoot a quick video or maybe put some photos out on Instagram or something, just kind of showing you what that looks like after we're done with that. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, Krillin AC. It's
it's been the 80s
and 90s down here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, has it hit 90? I don't know if it's hit quite that high, has it?
Well, it almost hit it inside this house.
Well, that's
85
true.
degrees inside the house.
It's going to be 91 degrees here next week. And so, the heat's, it's coming.
Yeah.
A portable AC for temporary, yeah. It's the South, man. I mean, the heat starts coming in May, and it doesn't let up till, I don't know, like September, October. It just becomes hot.
Hey, look who's walking through the front door.
And so anyway, all right, guys. Well, look, I think that's going to do it for now. You got anything else?
No, other than hey shoe show guy, say hello.
Hey.
Hello.
No, just have a wonderful weekend. Hit those yard sales, thrift stores, Goodwills, Salvation Armies, etc. hard. Do well, prosper.
Yep.
We're going to go see a movie tonight. It's date night.
It's date night. So we're going to go see, what are we going to go see?
What? I don't remember. Either that, what's
Guardians
Wolverine,
of the Galaxy
Guardians,
or Logan or something else. I don't know.
But there'll be a movie and there'll be popcorn involved. That's all I know.
There'll be a movie and
Did
there
you
will
say
be
popcorn?
popcorn.
Yeah, we can be tricked with yogurt and popcorn, apparently.
That's fun. Inside joke.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, guys. Well, take care. Hope you have a great weekend. Go after those sales. And we'll be back with you guys on Monday morning, probably for 10 at 10.
Yes.
More than likely. We'll let you know.
Just kill it this weekend, everybody. So glad to see you. And as always, this is Karin and
Prof Sales
saying good sales to you.